Welcome to a discussion on place value. This can get tricky when you think about writing numbers in place value form, because you have all these words, the thousands, millions, billions, trillions, quadrillions, and so on, and where do they really go and how do they relate? So if you have the basics down where you have the right order, that helps. So I'm going to kind of work backwards in this first example, meaning I'm going to start with this 62. So when we talk about place value, we go in blocks of 3. So at the very end, we're going to have 62. And in a block of 3, that would be like that. Because if it was 362, that 3 would have to go somewhere. So there's my block of 62. Now the next block of 3 is thousands. So I have 355,000. So that's 355 in the thousands spot. Now the next spot is millions. Well, you'll notice in our example we have no millions. So the millions are going to just be zeros because there are none. Then I go to billions and I have 500 billion. So 500 in the billions spot. And then I go to trillions and I have 860 trillion. So here's a different, so that's working backwards, and that works pretty well for me. If you want to go forward, you got to think about numbers. So trillion implies there are 12 places after the decimal. So if you think about the 860 and you have a decimal there, notice how there are 3, 6, 9, 12 spots afterward. Billion is 9. There are 9 spots after. Million is 6. There are 6 spots after. 1,000 is 3. There are 3 spots. And that's it. So you can do it that way. I think that's a little bit more difficult. I don't know why, I just do. So I'm going to do it the same way in number 2. And you might want to try it first, hit pause, try it yourself, and then come back. But 151. 151. Then I go to thousands. And I have 684,000. 684 in the thousand spot. Then I have millions. 242 million. 242. Notice million is 6. There are 6 spots after. Then I go to billion, and this says 35 billion. So there's 35. Oh my gosh, I'm totally going to run out of room. After billion is trillion. We have none, so I need 3 zeros. Then is quadrillion, and it says 5. So I'm going to start with 5, comma, 3 zeros for the trillions, and so on and so forth. Sorry about that. I started too far to the left. But when you are dealing with numbers that large, I think it really is easier to go to start at the end and work your way backwards and fill in the place values as you have them. Now in this next spot, similar stuff, we are dealing with writing numbers in standard form. So what I mentioned earlier, if you know how many spots are after the decimal point, this is not too bad. So billion means 9. That means after the decimal there are going to be 9 places. Well, you can see after the decimal here we already have 1 number. So that means if I need 9 total places and I already have 1, I need 8 more and they will all be zeros. So I've got 62, the number, and then I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. So when I put my commas in every third position, that's what it looks like. And it should work out, I believe, that if you have that decimal point in there, when you go to standard form, that decimal point should turn into a comma because of the way that it's in groups of 3. All right, so quadrillion. Trillion is 12. Quadrillion is after that. So quadrillion is 15. So when I look at this, I know I already have 3 spots. That means I need 12 zeros. And I'm going to type this one out because I'll never be able to write all that out. So let me do some typing. So you see how I have 12 zeros here at the back end. And then that 843 gives me the other 3 that I need for 15 places past that decimal point. And again, notice how we had the decimal point after the 18, and now we have a comma. So that does hold out. All right, 54,000. Well, 1,000 means 3. You don't see the decimal point, so it's after the 4. So I'm going to add 3 zeros, and there's 54,000. 1,300 billion. Well, billion is 9. So I put that period there, and that means after that I need 9 zeros. And there's that one. So why don't you go ahead and try to do the next 5 through 10 on your own, then come back and check your answers. All right, so you can check your answers here. And so notice I wrote above the word, I wrote how many places you should have past the decimal. And I really think that number 5 is maybe 5 and 9 are the tricky ones because there's no number in front. So past the decimal, I need 6 places. And you'll notice that the 7 is one of those 6s, so I only need 5 zeros. So 0.7 million is the same as 700,000. Check your zeros. Notice number 8, I typed it out again because quadrillion is just so big, so many zeros. And checked that out. So if you have any other questions on place value, it really is just knowing your spots. You know, the ones, 1, 10, 100, then you get to the thousands chunk, the millions, the billions, the trillions, the quadrillions. If you can get the order down, it's a whole lot easier to mess with those. So let me know if you have questions. Thanks.